Oh, hello everyone. How are you guys? I wish that you guys would be awesome and doing very good. Here, Aniket Raj from Standard 9 is going to explain the chapter of the French Revolution. This would be going to be the first chapter of my channel, and it would be start from social science, history, and the first chapter, French Revolution. French Revolution itself is a very important topic because it was the first major revolution of the world. In this video, we are going to be going to learn about pre 14 July 1789, the incidents, the events occurred there. 14 July 1789, the main events after 1791, the first constitution of France, monarchy to constitutional monarchy, France, constitutional monarchy republic, position of women, and Napoleon Bonaparte was very important person. Learn it about him. So let's start about 14 July 1789. In 14 July 1789, in the city of Paris, the street alarm. Here and rumor was dispersed in the country that the king has ordered his troops uh, to kill people of the France. This was just a rumor. Rumor means some like affa. Affa, you might be knowing about it. So after what it happens, the 7,000 people gathered together and raised and protest against the Louis XVI, who was the king of France at that time. The people of France attacked Bastille. Bastille was a despotic power of the king. The troops to kill the troops. The France people gathered and they killed the troops. They formed the people militia, and they wanted to revolt against the France king. So if they wanted to revolt, they needed some weapons and ammunitions to raise and protest against the king. So they wanted weapons for, for the people. So they also got weapons, arms, and ammunitions from the Bastille, and they just destroyed Bastilles. They just rushed Bastille. So now we would start with what happened before 1789. Before 1789, the France was getting bankrupt. The France was started take lots of loans from neighboring countries and was not able to clear that. In Louis XVI, who was married Marie Antonia at that time, Louis XVI was the king of France at that time. Okay, the question would arise from here that why was France getting bankrupt? What was the reason behind it? The reasons of bankruptcy of France was the first reason. This can come an example, you can write along with me. The first, sorry, first reason is, sorry, first reason is France was war. The, fir- the first reason is war. Second reason is the maintenance of Versailles. Versailles was a palace of king, where a king and her queen lived very peacefully, a royal life they wanted to live. The third reason was the third reason is means you can just note it down. I will not write it now. The third reason is they fought a battle with Britain to save the 13th American colony, because Britain was the common enemy of France and America. For saving that, lots of money was gone. Now the fourth reason is my returning of loans, which was taken at 10% per annum. You can see the rate of interest how they were giving. Can I imagine what a huge amount it would be? The fifth reason you can write is miscellaneous, road, salary, personal expenses. The means the France also needed some expenses for it, building new roads, giving salary to noble workers and all. Uh, Now, if anyone would be there, the king decided to impose to bankruptcy overcome. They wanted to overcome bankruptcy, but tax imposition. They wanted to increase the taxes. For this, we would need to first see the three states of France. The first state is clergy, in which priests were there. The second is nobles, ministers, and here are the common people. They are the common people of the country, in which first and second has feudal dues and birth birthrights, birthright and feudal dues. The most salient feature of the first and second state was they were they were exerted for paying taxes. They do not have to pay taxes to the king, and only the third state had to pay the taxes. This is not good. Now, there's special here. It's given they had special privileges of no paying to taxes, feudal dues. So one thing you should learn, that what is feudal dues. Feudal dues are the dues that the first two states were granted, that they would get free work from the third states. If any work could be required, the third state would give at free of cost, without any base. So now, how the taxes were imposed in France. uh, it was not like that a king thought in his mind that the cracks would impose and it would be imposed. It was not like that. When meeting should held for imposing taxes, that was three general meetings. Okay, so in the state general meeting, the king has the power to make a call for the meeting and to impose taxes. The state general voting was there, and state general meeting, all the three states were called, in which the state general meetings, first and second states sent their 300 and 300 representative respectively, and whereas the common people, the third state, sent their 600 peoples with them. In uh, clergy, the priests and church people came, and the nobilities, ministers in the second state, and common people, educated people, merchants and businessmen and teacher came there. So there was an condition. There was an means, not in very bad condition for the third state. The king said that 300, each state would have one vote. In this case, 300 vote for first, 300 vote for second, and 600 vote people for one vote. People for one vote. This was wrong. This was absolutely wrong, because the first two states would not want any revolution, because they had feudal rights. Why would a citizen remove their rights? As we can say that they were conservative. We would learn this in second chapter. So the third state demanded that every person should have one vote, so that the equal voting laws should be applied. This was denied by the king. After, we would see that there was one more scenario here, that the France population has grown. France population has grown 23rd to 28 million. 5 million. There is 5 million people rise in France, which was from 1715 to 1789, in just few years. So if the population would increase, there was food grain should also keep an raise, so that the equal demand should be applied. But there was no raise in food grains, and they were only raised when population. Then the outcome of this was very bad. The demand in food grains increases, but the supply was decreased and decreased, wages are fixed, food price is fixed, and the most harsh thing would occur. The drought occurs. The drought occurs. In drought interference, everything was ruined. France people were tripled, killed. There was a subsistence crisis occurred in France. What's a subsistence crisis? A subsistence crisis in extreme situations where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. We can say that now the current situation of Pakistan is saying like that now. Now there is this is how subsistence crisis occurred. Uh, this you can do it. This is the important from exam point of view, because I was also asked this question in my examination of first UD. Okay, so this you can prepare as HW homework of this. Okay, now growing to privileges and into exam. Now we are proceeding here. Okay, growing growing medicals in villages into end privileges. So the first and second state as special privileges, as I have said. France evolution of the third state. Now the merchants, the farmers, the laborers, the artisan, and the businessmen were the most active. They wanted to end this all privileges. They wanted to end this all special privileges which the first and second state got from their birth. They wanted to end that. Now the now the growing middle class. Now the growing middle class family came up together, and they protested against privileges of the first and second state. Here the three philosophers came now, which was John Locke, Rousseau, and Montesquieu. You need to learn this, and this is very important. So the John Locke, first we will go to the philosopher John Locke. He wrote a book, Two Treatises of Government, No Divine, Absolute Right. He wanted there should be no divine, and there should be absolute right, and the power should be in the head of government. In the Two Treatises of Government, he has wrote this. Now the second philosopher was Rousseau. He said that there should be a contract between people and the representative. There should be a voting right, and the people should not be a subject for a king. The king should be a subject for people. This is a very important line. There should be a contract between representative and people. Representative and the king. You can now understand it. Montesquieu. He wrote Spirit of Laws. He wanted separation of power between the three states. He was the first one to propose the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The power should be in three hands. Now this we are using in our democracy also, in present form also we are using here. Okay. You would be knowing what's a legislature, who creates law, executive executes, and judiciary who sees it, who are following it. No, correct or not? I have said in previous lines that I told that there was a meeting of three states, shared general meeting, in which all the three states came together. Now, as I have told that the king denied the voting, that the three states or the third state order that there should be one person, one vote, which was denied by the king. After that, in 20th June 1789, this is also important that you can write it to 20th June 1789. In this case, that the tennis goes over game, the France Constitution. In tennis court, the people, the 600 representatives came together along with the common people of the third state, and they declared themselves as the National Assembly of the France. You can guess it how terrible it was. And they wanted the limitation of power of the king of the monarchy and wanted a constitution, the France constitution. They wanted to make a France constitution. Okay, now who gave this meaning to the boycott? See, first and third state was not an literate state. They were the common people who were not literate as much. So because of that, after seeing the problems, the first and second state, two representatives came up for the freedom of third state. Now, who were they? The two can write it. It's a very important. Wait a minute. The outbreak of this is the tennis court Uhud. You you can see in this image how the two people have joined together for tennis. Oh, which is, I was talking about the two philosophers, which is the first one is Mirabeau, and the third is Abicius. They were the most important people in terms of evolution of France. The Mirabeau was a minister who was a nobility from he belongs from the third state, whereas Abicius was a priest, he belonged to the first state. Abicius wrote important pamphlets distributed to he wrote what's the third state? This can be accessed one word question. Pamphlet, what is the third state? You can write it as ABCS. Here, one more thing very harsh thing occurs that one more a rumor was spelled that France is getting turmoil, a bad harvest. The king wants to destroy the crops which are going to be harvested. Protest storm, this thing. Now the situation has gone out of control. After this, the Louis XVI surrendered. Louis XVI surrendered, and uh, he was just king. Now the powers has been taken. He said that he would be governed from the constitution. So monarchy to constitutional monarchy in 1721. Um, Assembly is abolished. So the National Assembly came and they took some steps. Like the first step was that they abolished the privileges that the first and second state got from birth. This was the first abolished. They also abolished the feudal dues that they got from the third state. Now taxes are finished. Now there were two taxes in the France, which are titres and tally. Titres for church and tally for the direct tax which is paid for the third state, whereas titres for the 1/10 of the total agriculture product, which was given to the church in from the gifts amount, which was also abolished by the constitutional monarchy now. Now the land owned by church was consolidated. Consolidated means recaptured of the land which was given, and 2 billion money was uh, no 2 billion money came to the constitutional monarchy of the French National Assembly. France became a constitutional monarchy. In 1791, the first constitution of France was made. In 1791, the first National Assembly was made. Now, the provisions of constitution were limitation of power king, election, indirect election was held. Now the separation of power was also done. Now we would be talking about the National Assembly. National Assembly, there were two citizens which were active and passive. Active were they that who were 25 years plus men, and passive were that who were below 25. Uh, Active citizens had voting right, whereas passive citizens has no voting right and no voting right. Uh, and active citizens were who can pay taxes equals to 3 wages of work, whereas passive citizens could not do. Constitution of France is 1791. The Constitution of France 1791 uh, was the document of right. They gave some features. They gave some rights, that the rights were right to equality, right to freedom, right to life, right to speech, and right to expression. This was the important rights given to the citizens of France. Now we would talk about one more important thing, bro. Constitutional monarchy to republic. Now France became constitutional monarchy to republic in 1792. Now the powers of Louis XVI was gone. And then one more thing is given. Now the executive was king and his minister, whereas veto. Here is the veto. The National Assembly has the veto power, which had the direct control of France. Active citizens have told and past citizens have told there were 3 million men, whereas 4 million men of the 28 million possible population. Women, this was the past citizens. And one more thing, that judge was represented by the voting rights, which is not good in the France, because judge should not be appointed as vote. It was not good in my opinion. No. A constitutional monarchy to a republic. Now, this all thing I have told this now. Let's move ahead. Constitutional monarchy to a republic. Okay. Now, in 1792, Louis XVI, as his powers were gone, the power were rested with veto. He was just as a king, as a normal king. He wanted his powers back. He wanted the despotic power back in his hand. He wanted his power back. Okay, so he wanted his power back. So he secretly signed with Prussia and Austria. He secretly signed with Prussia and Austria. He shook hand with them, and they wanted them uh, to support the king, to again monarchy to be settled up. Austria and Prussia also supported Louis XVI, because they thought that as France was getting a revolution, so the citizen of Austria or Prussia would also try a revolution. So they do not want to give their power, so they supported Louis XVI there. The result, the destructive result of this was the people declared war against Prussia and Austria. France citizen declared a war here. Now think that France has got independence in 1791, and they are trying to fight with two great countries, the great powerful countries Prussia and Austria. In just 1 year, you can find that it's not in good. It was not good. Now people saw themselves as the people of France, which is a monarchy. They did not want a monarchy, as they wanted republic. They saw this war as the war of peace. Now the one more very important thing occurred here, that patriotic song Marseillaise was sung as the national anthem of France. Okay, which is written in Marseille. It was written by Roger de Sly. He wrote the national anthem of France, which is a Marseillaise. Important thing I'm gonna mention it. People saw this. People saw this song. People sang this song while entering the city of Paris. It was a motivational song for them. No. After this revolutionary, after this revolutionary war, what were the outcomes? They were starting for their livelihood. They worked as slave or workers. France faced economic loss. Uh, while women started working, when men were fighting, the 1791 constitution, the One drawback was that only rich people was benefited. Here, the poor people group came up as the Jacobin Club, Jacobin Club. In Jacobin Club, artisans, shoemaker, and men without property came together. The head of Jacobin Club was Maximilian Robespierre. He was a very important person. He was the king, and the next year we'll study about him. He made political group Jacobin, who were the less prosperous section of society. They were also called sans culotte. In order to distinguish themselves, they wear a fashionable cloth, which was striped trouser and red cap. You can see like this. Oh, yo. This was the cap and this was the striped trouser which the Jacobin people wear. Okay, this was this. This is the people without knee breast. Now let's start Jacobin. The Jacobin requested legislative assembly. Now in 1792, the France faced food shortage. The supply of grain was very less, and the people became angry. On 10th August 1792, the palace of Treasury, what it is, the palace of Versailles, you can say, the king, the people rushed palace of Versailles because and killed the guards of king. The king was hosting his election for it. Now see, the people is facing a huge problem, and the king, the leader, is enjoying his life with all peace and prosperity. Who will not face? Who will not be angry? The king and yeah, the king and the France people. They guillotine. Guillotine was a device which was used to chop the head of the people. The king was guillotine. We will study about Jacobin. Jacobin said that they will make their own constitution. In their constitution, there would be all men without property right and all men above 21 years. They would get right to vote. On 21 September 1792, the monarchy was abolished. France monarchy to republic. The head of state was elected. Now the Louis XVI court hanged to the offense as the treason. He betrayed the France, so he was guillotined in 21st January 1793. Publicly elected. Now elections were held. The new king of France was Maximilian Robespierre. His tenure was also called as Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror 1793 to 1794. These policies were, first we'd study about Maximilian Robespierre. He was a monarchy favor. We study about the steps about Maximilian Robespierre, what he took. First of all, he fixed the wages price, and he encouraged his citizens to use white bread, which is in Hindi maida, and uh, abolished maida, white flour. Peasants were forced to sell their grains in cities at fixed prices, and the meat and bread was rationed. And that last thing he did, that monsieur, which was said to sir and madam to madam, no, he apologized and everyone was called as citoyen, means citizen. This was the steps. Now because of this, the people was very angry with Maximilian Robespierre. He also did guillotine to the people to whom did he guillotine? He guillotined to the people of monarchy favored. He guillotined to the people of enemies of republic. He guillotined the people who were against republic. Now after this overall these events, the people was very angry with Maximilian Robespierre. Let me drink water. Now after in France, the directory rule was established in France after the fall of Jacobin government. After the death of Maximilian Robespierre. The middle families got advantage. The middle class got advantage. Uh, the second middle class families made a new constitution of France, and no voting right to no property. I mean, was seen here. They decided there should be two forms of government: legislative and directory. Uh, Second, power concept. There should not be concentration of power in one hand. So there was an political instability. Because of the political instability, there was the rise of the the modernizer of mentry of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte, he was a liberator, freedom. He invaded France. He, the things he did, the things he did was Napoleon Code of 1804. The good thing he did was that he introduced uniform system of measure. He protected private properties. He introduced decimal systems. The bad thing that he did, that civil code that he did, was censorship imposed. He forced people to join army. He uh, he excluded people with no voting right, no property went from voting right. He imposed slave trade again. This whole thing Napoleon Bonaparte did. Now we'll study about the did women have a revolution or go to did women have a revolution? Yes, surely the women had a revolution. The women was worked as a domestic worker, lower worker. Women had no access to education at that time. So only rich nobles and first and second class families, daughters go to convent school and have arranged political parties. Means arranged marriage. And they would have their arranged marriage. Because of this, the lower classes of women started creating political clubs and political rights and to the upliftment of society. And 60 plus club was made at that time. The Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women. The main demand was that they wanted voting rights, they wanted to get elected in National Assembly. Now, what one question would arise: what did revolutionary government did for women? What did they actually did for women? The education was for all girls. They made second thing was that job training. The job training was there for women. Divorce was made legal. Arranged marriage contract for girls. Cannot force for marriage. The same for revolutionary government did for women. Now we'll go to in Reign of Terror. National Robespierre, what he did to women? He first of all arrested women, closed women clubs, executed women. How rubbish he can be, think. Banned political activities. Now, after women continued fighting for voting for 200 years, you can see this struggle. It was a great struggle. Now, women continued fighting for again 200 years. In finally 1946, they got voting right. Now, we would study about the slave trade in France. There was three countries. Abolition of slavery, the slave trade in France. There was three countries: Europe, North America, and Africa, South Africa. Now, the Europe people were actually, we can call, they were very much lazy. They do not want to directly go to North America and cultivate crops. Instead of they went to South Africa to buy slaves from the local merchant, and they uh, carried the slaves and the ships and sent to islands to for the demand of Europe to cultivate crops. In the Caribbean island, the plantation of tea, coffee, sugar, and indigo was produced. Now, the slave trade was being done, so the criticism was also there. National Assembly, and there was debate. There was debate for slave trade. The debate was to right to all people free, but did not pass any law. there because the convent uh, because France income dependent on that, because did the France income dependent on slave trade, as the big means the France fear from the big businessman. Now in 1794, a convention made a law to free all slaves in overseas colony. But again, Napoleon Bonaparte introduced slave, and finally slave was abolished in 1848. Now there is a small topic: evolution, revolution in day-to-day life, evolution in everyday life. The revolution affected in people lives, people being changed in terms of culture, language, clothes, education. Western education was popular at that time. No, this was all about the chapter. I hope that you have got all the points. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.